Welcome. I am Jonnita Stanton. We have Reginald Perryman, Kashka Williams. We are TSARE, and this is the There's Something About Real Estate podcast, where we talk all things real estate. And today we have with us Marcus Howell. He's from Detroit, but of Atlanta. Sports and entertainment, celebrities, all sorts of things.
You gotta say by way of Atlanta.
No, well, he really from Atlanta by way of Detroit.
I thought you was from Detroit.
I'm from Detroit.
Yeah,
he's from Detroit.
Detroit, I guess from Atlanta via Detroit.
No, it's Atlanta by way of Detroit. Because he's from Detroit.
Where your mama from? They say on the West Coast, where your mama from?
Did I say you're from Detroit?
Yeah.
By way of Atlanta.
Yeah.
But it's the other one.
It
He's
works.
from Atlanta by way of Detroit.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
What up, dog?
What up, dog?
Yeah,
we
what
here.
up, dog?
We know he was born. What hospital was you born at?
Actually, I was born in Warren, Michigan at Bi County Hospital. And I was like the last one before they closed that hospital too.
Oh my God! Okay,
my mom was like bougie. She had to go to the doctor outside the city.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what you mean. I had two of my kids in.
But I went to school on the west side, so
There you go.
Yeah. What school did you go to?
I went to Chassis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Before they closed it down.
They closed. They closed all your history. They closed the hospital.
shut
Hospital to school.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think middle school was like on the east side. I barely remember where it's a blur.
Barber.
Oh.
No, it was east side. I remember it was right off this main street too. We lived not too far from Kettering.
Okay.
But like going the other way, I try to remember.
That's why it's probably was
Off of
Barber.
Van Dyke or something.
Because most of the people who went to Kettering went to Barber Elementary.
Yeah, I think my brother went to Kettering.
So y'all must have had so many schools. Like, I don't know how. I don't think I can ever forget my school. I only went to 3 schools.
Oh, yeah.
Elementary, middle school,
when you want to forget those things, you forget them.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in real estate.
Real estate, actually, that was a big fat accident. So it's interesting. I was doing decorative concrete floors. And I had met this lady. She cussed like a sailor, older white lady, and me and her was so cool. And that was me, so she spoke my language. Mm-hmm. And so me and her clicked, and we became real cool. And so she asked me one day, I was driving 18-wheelers for this local company in Atlanta, and she was like, "Have you ever thought about doing stuff like this?" I said, "I like the before and after, and and I'm an artist too, so I was like, I can put like designs into floors, and I can do all of that." I said, "I just got to learn how to do it." She was like, "My husband will teach you, and he'll pay you." And I was like, "Teach me and pay me?" And I'm like, okay. So I got a temporary job working for the post office, still driving trucks, but I only worked 2 days a week. And I worked with her and her husband the other time. So literally for like a year, somebody asked me every week, "You know a real estate agent? You know anybody do real estate?" And I had a god sister who was an agent, but she was inactive. And she wanted to work at the post office. So I'm getting like people coming up to me every week. I'm talking about thousands of dollars just going out the door. And finally I went on Facebook and I was like, "Do anybody know a real estate agent? I'm sick of this, And this one lady in California, she's like a prophet. She's funny. She was like, "Get your license and people will stop asking you that." And I was like, that's a good idea. I said, I can still make my own hours. I can still travel. I can still do that. So I went and got my license. Nobody's asked me that question since then. It's been 9 years.
Right.
Nobody's asked me, "Do you know a real estate agent?" Not one time.
What year is this?
This was, 2012, 13. And I got licensed. I had a big debate, like issue when I did get licensed because I was in my head. You know how it is when you get licensed. You either go A or you go B. You go with a company that's going to train you and teach you and help you out, or you go with a company that don't want nothing from you. They're not going to do nothing for you.
$3.95.
And you figure it out.
Yeah.
Transaction fee. And so I was told, as soon as I got my license, your first client is Toni Braxton. She won a house in Atlanta for $3 million. So in my mind, I'm not giving 40% of that to nobody. Right. So I'm like, let me look at this other company. I ain't gonna say the name, but it was trash. It was bad. I didn't get no help, no nothing. And I learned that Tony was a window shopper, and she just finally bought a house this year.
But okay, so because we talked about that a little bit, and this is my thing on that. This is my mindset. People that are buying houses in that price point, take a minute to decide. But do you remember how I broke down the math?
You did. She broke it down to like month by month, and this is what you get per hour, and this is your time.
Right.
And I was like kind of pissed. You know, I guess I could say whatever I need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's regular.
Yeah.
Okay, profanity's okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was mad as fuck.
Right.
When I found out that she bought a house for like $6 million and used another agent that, somebody that she had talked about. And I was like, well, this don't make, the math ain't mathing.
Right.
And then, and then had the nerve to call me when stuff went south. And
That's how they do, right?
Hey, look,
I'm like, for real?
That happened with the average buyer, period. Family, friends, clients.
Yeah, she did kind of say, going forward, she learned a lesson. I'm like,
Right.
After you already spent that $6 million.
Hold on. You got your license in 12, 13, and that's when she started looking.
I got a license. No, I got licensed September in 14.
14, and then she was looking then.
And I was told she was looking. So I knew her family and everybody for probably about 15 years now.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm really close with Trina and her sister. And Trina and I talk all the time. And so Trina, I ended up selling her house and her other sister Tawanda. So, and I work with their mom too. But Tony was the ghost.
Right.
It's like you going about your life, and then hey, I'm in town. I want to look at this house, this house, this house, this house, this house, this house. And I want to see this one at 12 o'clock and then see it when the sun set at 4:30, and then I want to do this, and I'm like...
Yeah, you have to be accommodating for that kind of money. Yeah. And I think that, if you can break it down for me, so I guess I'm just that type of person. I was just thinking about it. I'm like, I totally could have done that. I've been totally fine.
For 8 years?
No, it wasn't 8 years. The time.
That was the first time when she first started looking, but it wasn't like a consistent look. It was more like,
that's what I mean.
It was more like, this is what I want to do because I'm interested.
Cousins right now.
Now, I've been out with her and her mom, and I had to break out the laptop, and we in FMLS and got the glasses on, and we just doing it. And I'm like, I was giving it a shot.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
But it wasn't turning into nothing. So, yeah. That's it. She wasn't pulling the trigger.
So y'all feel that way? Y'all feel like that? Elijah, now you went and got your sports and entertainment certification. Yes. So do y'all feel like that? I don't feel like those people. I feel like they're more decisive than that. They may be more particular, but you feel like they're gonna take years to buy a house?
They average people though. So we have regular clients that do that.
No.
And then you got to think the flip side of that is. You look at the referral base those people come with, right? And the prestige behind it. And it's real good for marketing, right? So, it's worth it.
No, I'm not asking if it's worth it. Do you think that they take 8 years to buy? You said 8 years.
It took for her, yeah.
But
I think that's specific to her because with her, it's the money.
Right.
All the houses I showed her in the $2 and $3 million range, she was, and didn't like it. Now she got a $6 million budget. And it was like,
because she was able to get more. She was able to get more.
The money came just recently, so that's why I think she jumped on that opportunity.
That's crazy.
But even if you watch the show, because I'm a fan of theirs in terms.
I was on the show,
but even I'm a Toni Braxton fan too in terms of the music. But if you listen, they're always moving around and they're typically leasing. To me, it makes sense. So I get what you're saying or whatever, but I think that at the end of so let's say it was a total of 8 years, right? Mm-hmm. And then she finally pulls the trigger and signs. Yeah, in my head I'm like, okay, how many hours did I actually commit to the 8 years? And when I break it down, I'm pretty sure them dollars are still
are still making you say, damn,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But going forward, especially through Trina. Trina's when I say my dog, she's cool.
Right.
And all of them I met through my best friend who's a celebrity attorney. So that's how I got started with meeting these people and putting two and two together, and their friends became my friends. So I sold Angie Stone a house in Atlanta, and it was kind of weird how that happened because she found the house while I was out of town and had her landlord show her the house. So then it turned into, okay, I need to, the listing agent was like, well, as soon as you do the showing, we'll accept your offer. And I'm like,
yeah, you need to schedule it.
So I'm telling the big secret here, but it's long gone. My mom was in town, and I was like, hey, Mom, put this hat on. Put these shades on. I was like, you need to be Angie Stone for about 20 minutes. And I need to show this house. And I said, I want you to walk behind me and let me show you the house and everything. And the lady who lived there, worked for the feds or something. It was 50 cameras all over this house. Wow. And I was like, pay attention. I'm like, Mom, follow me. Let me show you the house so we can put this showing out the way. The lady wouldn't even leave the house. She was sitting behind the house in her car with a scarf on her head and some glasses. And we're just sitting there doing this. And I was like, good Lord. And so I opened the door. We still in the foyer. I'm like, okay, so this is the office. The main bedroom's this way. I turn around. My mom's gone. I'm like,
through the house.
Like, hey, Angie, right. She in the kitchen looking at the cabinets and the countertops. Ooh, I could cook this in here. I was like, you need to, pay attention. I said I was gonna take you to get something to drink. Pay attention, Mama. I try to watch what I say and everything.
Oh my goodness!
But we ended up getting her the house, and she loves that house. I mean, Jesus Christ. You can't talk her out of it.
Really, you trying to sell it now?
So I guess he would be the person to ask.
I even shot up to 300,000. I'm like,
Right, let's get you something else.
Well, real quick though, but so certain athletes wouldn't take that long to buy because if they're getting traded, they got to buy now. So it's a different dynamic. I don't think all of them
take that long. That's what I'm going to ask. But he could answer that question. So dealing with people in sports and entertainment, what is the typical amount of time that they take to make a decision to purchase a house?
For me, I do more entertainment than sports.
Okay.
But I like sports and entertainment much more than luxury, and because of the networking. So to me, it's like the comedians I know, the singers, the actors, and stuff like that. If you know them and you know their schedule, you can kind of gauge when they're going to be ready to buy. It's always like a time frame where you just how to build your calendar out, and you know how you lead gen. My version of lead gen is looking at my calendar and saying, okay, this person is going to go from warm to hot on this month, and let me go do some events and do some stuff with them and make sure I'm top of mind. And you got to kind of build your calendar like that. It sucks, but it's the way it is. So athletes will tend to, especially if they don't know they're going to be traded, a lot of them like to do leases. A lot of them, and I hate rentals and leases, but for them, when I showed Trina her house that she ended up buying. They were charging $2,000 a month for rent. So to me, it was the payout on that by being a rental was $1,000. I was like, I'll drive to Brazelton for $1,000, because that's like a 40-minute drive, and to me it was worth it. And then she ended up buying that house that she was renting. And I was like, well, I'm already in there, so let me write the contract. It's time to make that purchase. And that was my biggest sale for many years, was Trina's house. So you just got to build your calendar and wait. But, you're going to stay busy anyway because you got stuff to do. But when it comes to, athletes and stuff, I don't have too many athletes. One of my best friends went to high school with me here. He retired from the NFL. So, and now he lives in Arizona. So he's helped me out with a lot of different referrals because he knows people everywhere. And, I got connections with, Stevie Wonder, Tony Braxton and the other people's, and so, he has a lot of athlete connections. So he and I, I went out to spend the weekend with him for his birthday last year, and it was a big group of us from Chadsey, and, we, kind of had our own, hangout, powwow. It was July 4th weekend, actually, and we had a good time, and I got to pick his brain, and because I don't know that many athletes, But it was fun.
So you trying to tap into the sports pretty much. Okay.
For sure.
Well, we on that almost year anniversary. You're going to make that trip again.
Yeah. Well, this time I think we were talking about, because our reunion is in August, third weekend of August, so it's right here in Detroit. So I think like my class of 90, I'm telling my age, but we all like, we're in a mansion that weekend, and like watching movies and hanging out there, and then we having like a party on a boat, I think Saturday, and then the picnic is Sunday. Okay. So we got like a whole weekend set up of doing stuff. So that's a big networking thing for me. I got my nice little fancy business cards, got my sports and entertainment on there. Right. And, people say that all the time. Oh, Marcus, you a real estate agent? I'm like, yes, come here, let's talk. So I stay on top of that.
Do you do you feel like what's the biggest difference you see between handling the entertainment clients and your just working class clients? Is there really a big difference in their attitude?
Yes. How do I explain this? So if you're not social,
right,
and you don't like to get out the house and stuff like that, then sports and entertainment probably wouldn't be for you. Okay. Because they'll have a hair show, they'll have a play.
Right.
Q Parker from 112, he's in plays and stuff all the time, and I'm in his group, Brothers United Atlanta.
Right.
And so whenever they have something going on, you got to show your face.
Okay. And
you gotta network and all of that. So if you don't feel like it, having a drink, you tend to might want to lose out on some of them clients. Right. It's okay to miss some things, but then like if it's something important and they take the time out to invite you, right, you gotta be that person to show up and be there for certain situations. Right. Son's having a such and such, we're having a pool party. Pool parties? Oh, I'm always showing up for that. I'm doing sit-ups and everything. Right. I'm like, I need to be here just for a picture or something, Right. So it's a lot more networking, a lot more personal time.
Okay.
It's fine. I don't mind the red carpet events and all of that stuff, but sometimes that get expensive.
Right. Mm-hmm. What about like as far as like privacy? Like, do you have like any clients they're just like don't tell anybody nothing, or don't even tell them you sold me a house?
I've done that a few times. Okay. So, and certain people I've mentioned already too. Right. Were like, this transaction, don't mention that because, people going to start calling me for money. And I'm like, that makes sense. And another big thing that they really they really push it in sports and entertainment is you don't have to brag and talk and tell people, I work with this person, I work with this athlete. Right. A lot of times it's the silent movers that they really interested in. Right. I had to name drop to get in there. Right. But, once I did get in there, it was like I think I mentioned one or two celebrities. I know a lot more people than I've mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Especially my California clients. I don't mention none of them because they don't want any of that.
But you sound like you mentioned the people that you actually have like relationships formed with, like you can call when you leave here, like, hey, or
Yeah, my phone is right there. You can pick it up and call any of them. Mm-hmm. Right. Like especially like the comedians and actors and singers in California, like they don't want to discuss real estate on social media. Right. Yeah. And I'm cool with it. It don't bother me. But I can still say, hey, I had a client, I did a referral. I don't have to. When I did Angie's home, I didn't mention her name. And I actually used a picture of the house in the post. And then like a year later, not too long ago, some guy on YouTube was like posting all these celebrity homes, right? And he was getting the videos and photos from the listings before they bought it, right? And was showing it. Oh, this is where her kitchen is. This is where this and that. Oh, wow! And he was doing that, and we had to like file a lawsuit, like not a lawsuit, but like a stop action letter, right? To kind of tell him, take this down. Even though you don't have the address here. That house is very recognizable, especially if you live in that subdivision. Right. It's like, why would you do that? And, sometimes you got to just shut up, get your check, and go home.
Right. That's true.
So it looks like, so in terms of like appearance and style and things like that, like have you found yourself kind of like, I need to step it up a notch?
Yeah, like does the car you drive matter? The way you dress, like has that all changed or?
The car I drove and drive now, yes, definitely changed. But that was me kind of saying I wanted a SUV and I wanted a Mercedes, and you know, and it's white. And I was like, okay, this is what I want. You know, I had 2 prior to that one that I really didn't like, and you know, it was stuff wrong with them. And I finally just went and got the car I wanted like 2 months ago. Okay. So the way I dress and stuff, that doesn't really change. I've always liked being a real estate agent. I like dressing up and going to work because I've had jobs where I went to work and came home dirty and looked like I was digging through the trash, you know, and I didn't like those jobs no more. I wanted to get paid for my brain power, you know. So I would dress up. And people that know me, I mean, they talk about me so bad. Like, when I moved to Atlanta from Detroit, I would wear comfortable stuff. So it could be Fila shoes and a Champion jogging suit and a Nike hat.
Oh, you was perfect.
Oh, you was perfect, right.
I was crazy.
That's the thing.
That's a now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really.
You're supposed to perfect.
Yeah. Like, that's how the kids believe now.
Yeah, but I was comfortable. And all my friends, the bougie ones and the label mates and all of that, oh my God, what you got on? I'm like, I don't care what I got on. I'm comfortable, you know. But now it's like I put more attention into it. Like, I'm wearing a pair of red bottoms now. I ain't never had no red bottoms in my life. My brother literally bought it for me as a gift to say thank you because his daughter goes to school in Georgia. And I've been watching her and taking care of her since she's been down there.
Cool.
And now she's graduated.
We don't got no shoe cam.
Right.
No. We'll take some pictures. I'll hold my foot up for you. But like, I've never owned a pair of red. Like, I just don't shop like that. I'm not an expensive shopper. I don't care what name brand stuff you got on. As long as I look nice and I'm comfortable, I'm okay.
So you're saying, like, so as far as your sports and entertainment and celebrity clients, is you feel comfortable, no, like whatever it is you feel like feeling like that day.
Yeah, like when Trina had her restaurant called Bar Chicks, they would do karaoke like on Wednesday nights and stuff. And so if I went, which I did go most of the time, and a lot of them didn't know I could sing, so I would be in there singing, and everybody like, "What the hell?" Like, you know, you sing like that, and I'm like, "Yeah." So I had fun, and we would drink and have, it was like a party. So I wasn't trying to dress up and be bougie or nothing. I was trying to, just have fun. Trina's type person. She could just meet you and like she'll literally order 2 big beers and be like, all right, the last one to finish got about a round of drinks, and then she'll be gone, and then you'll be like, oh shit, you know. and she likes to like open you up and make sure you have fun. So that's just her personality. So it's like she don't care about what you look like and what you got on and stuff like that. She's not like most celebrities. Like she's really, really cool. Like you'll have. Next time she has something in Georgia, y'all gotta come.
Okay.
Yeah. She's gonna reopen her bar, I think later this year.
Definitely want to go to Bar Chicks.
Bar Chicks is like the food slap, the drinks are good. Right. She comes in there with her purse and she got a gallon of vodka and whiskey in her purse, and she gonna make sure you have a good time. Like, yeah, she's cool.
Any it's like things that you felt like you've done in error, like mistakes made or anything like that, things you can improve on, or something where you kind of be like, man, I really could have did that better?
Well, with a couple of clients, yeah. And I don't want to talk down on people, but like I had one client that was a little hood, and and I was like really trying because I know her family and everything, sold her mom a house, and I mean it's like I really wanted her to be happy and make her a happy client too, and it was just like she went left, and I couldn't show her a home, and I asked a friend of mine to do it for me. Because I was like on the other side of town, like an hour away. I was far. And she had an attitude. And you missed the luxury. You can't do that. I'm like, no. Like, you know me. I'm not that guy. Right. You know, I literally did this because I had to. You know, tomorrow's another day. You know, but, you know, she still got an attitude, won't answer the phone. You know, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do about that, you know.
Man, that's crazy, because that's a showing assistant, basically.
Right.
Right. Well, she didn't want no showing assistant. She wanted me. Yeah. Right. And I'm like, I could do it, but not today. And, you know, and it's like, I ain't trying to be bougie or Mr. Luxury like she called me, but it was like, I'm trying to, you know, please everybody. You can't put out all the fires, you know. Yeah. You'll kill yourself if you do, even if you try.
So do they allow, or would they trip about a showing assistant?
It depends on the person. Some people you can try that with. Some people,
It's gotta be you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they probably want to protect.
Like I would never
privacy,
send
too.
somebody to see a house with Tony or Trina or Mama E. Oh God, no. Yeah, that. You know, she'll be like, "Oh, that's okay. Just call me next week." And you know,
I can definitely see that for sure.
Yeah, like I made a big mistake. Like I took Mama E and Tony to go see a condo, and we were headed back to the car, and I automatically just started walking to my car. And Tony went and opened her mom's door and opened the door and looked at me, and then Mama E looked at me, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "Oh, I meant to do that." I was like trying to head back over there. She was already in the car, like, "All right, we'll see you later." I was like, "Damn!"
Like, so you really gotta kind of
My manners, like,
and
yeah.
making sure you paying attention to your
And in my mind, I'm like, let me get the next address up and let me put it in my navigation. Let me send it to them so they can follow me. You know, I'm thinking in my mind, you know, future based. I'm like, oh, open the door. You ain't open the door for the lady. I'm like, So stuff like that happens. You know, you human.
Right.
That's why I drink.
So for our audience here, so when they're buying these homes, they're not all just paying cash. A lot of people think celebrities just come out and just be like $6 million.
I've only known one person that paid cash for a house.
Right. So
And
they get mortgages.
It wasn't even their money. It was like an associate's money or something. Because, you know, a lot of times you don't want to put a house in your name.
Right.
Because all somebody got to do is Google smoogle, and they got all your business.
Okay.
So one person I've known actually paid cash for a house.
Okay.
Nobody else. It's always loans, conventional, whatever.
Right.
I had an FHA.
Wow.
That turned into a jumbo loan, but it was still an FHA. But
Cool.
Yeah.
It's not smart. First of all, if you're a sports and entertainment, hopefully you have an accountant, and it's not intelligent to pay cash for a house.
Smart. That's really smart. You
So
know, not
I don't think that any of them would do it. You know what I mean? I mean,
'cause,
even
you
the
know,
richest
people-
that are rich wouldn't do that.
Yeah, people think all celebrities just pay cash
No.
for their homes. And
Right.
I'm like, no, that's not how
They
it
got
works.
well. First, it's stupid. They have people that teach them money. You know what I mean? And that's not smart money.
Yeah, you're gonna tire. So, in terms of investing, like, are you into the investing? Are you like hooked up with Jeezy, or like, I mean, you know, I'm just saying, like,
Are
the
any of your
big-
clients investing, or are they just mostly buying primary homes?
Mostly primary.
Okay.
I got a few contractors that I've worked with a few times, and they're not like celebrities, but
Right.
you know, they do this for a living, and you know, some of them are millionaires too. They just don't show it. They still wear Kmart clothes and stuff,
Right.
and you know, and they don't want people to know them like that. So,
Right.
I actually want to get into some investments myself, but
Okay.
you know, I'm kind of like learning the curves here. I do floors and you know, I have contractors, you know, left and right. I just haven't taken that step financially to do it.
Cool.
Like, it's crazy though, because you're in Atlanta, and I know a lot of the, like, especially like the reality TV, the hip hop artists, you know, things like that. It's where, like, they're
I got a
like
few of those.
super involved, or in terms of like the whole building the block concept.
Yeah. So like a couple of reality TV stars or celebrities, or I don't like the word celebrity. They people just like us, like
Right.
for real. But a lot of them like surprised me, and they were like, "Oh, I'm ready to buy a house, and my credit score is a 790," and I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "I just saw you twerking while smoking a hookah the other day." I'm like, "You got a 790?" And I'm like, "Okay." So you know, they surprise you. You know, they really stay on top of their money, and you know how they say get that bag and all that stuff. You know, they're thinking beyond that. They're thinking credit. They're thinking investments. You know, and I always tell them, you know, if y'all want to get some properties, you know, let me know. And then another good thing I did was I teamed up with a really good commercial agent. And so he and I like work off each other. We do a lot of referrals within each other. And that really, I mean, last year I probably got 12 referral checks.
Oh,
No, 12. I got 12 in one city. I got about 16, 17 referral checks last year.
that's good money though. You know, like I swear
And all you do is
that's
make a
one of the
phone
things
call.
that like opened up for me at family reunion.
Yeah.
I mean, we've always known about referrals. I mean, I grew up in Century 21 where it was just like, okay, yeah, you don't send it out for a referral if you can't do it.
Right.
But the experience of being around like this whole thing, and it's like, no, this is like a real business, like referrals.
Yeah, it's companies out there now that they just give out referrals. They market, advertise, and they just send referrals out to agents and just get 25, 30%. Yeah. Like I tell people, if you're real social, even if you don't necessarily want to go out and sell houses, but you know a lot of people, you just get your license just to give out referrals.
Yeah. Oh. There are people that do that. I know some people do referrals and they build their downline, and that's all they do.
Right.
Yeah. My mentor is like killing it with his downline and everything.
Right.
I mean, he get a nice check on the 21st every month. I'm like, Jesus Christ! I had 3 people, and then all 3 left. Then I got 1 back, and I'm like, I'm not gonna ever like. It's gonna take me years to get to his level.
That's a difference.
That dude get a check every month where he don't have to work, don't have to do nothing, and I'm like, and he's still eating, and was the top agent in the Southeast for like 7 years in a row, and I'm like.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah, he kind of made me into who I am because I didn't really go full time. I was still kind of like playing with it and didn't know if I wanted to be a real estate agent. And he actually sat me down one day. We went to lunch and he ordered 2 big, tall Long Islands and was like, okay, let's talk. And I was like, whoa, big talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like, what you gonna do with yourself? He's like, you come in the office, people be nosy and looking at your name tag. And he said that nobody knows you. Right. He was like, you need to come in here, let people meet you and know you. He said, you don't know how much money you could be missing out on just not sitting in that bullpen,
Right.
And I started doing that, and I started going full time. I got a coach, and I shot up, and it was like, he was right, I had to pay attention.
Cool.
It ain't just real estate.
Yeah,
I'm about to turn the page a little bit.
All right.
Because Marcus has a whole nother side.
Oh Lord!
I'm not even gonna front. Like, and I sat in a job. I'm like, damn, Johnny, to go back in the house and get the book because you're supposed to autograph for me. So I'm gonna have to meet up with you tomorrow or the next day. You leaving when?
Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got to get my book. But you put out there that you're kind of advertising yourself as a clairvoyant realtor. Why do you choose to publicly
do that?
Who did that?
Okay, so I found out like 6-7 years ago that I was clairvoyant. I didn't have a name for it. So I grew up all my life having like deja vu and weird things happening to me and stuff, and I didn't know what that was. My girlfriend at the time was like, same girlfriend, we stood together. But at the time, like, she was really pushing me to like, why don't you explore that? Because I think you really got a gift. And I was like, nah. And I didn't believe in like the online classes. This was before online was a thing. And so she was like, well, I signed you up for this psychic development class. And I'm like, psychic? And I'm like, I don't believe in that. And I was like the biggest skeptic and everything. I grew up in church and I'm like, nope. She's like, well, you start Monday and I already paid for the class, so you gon' go. And I was like, what? And so I said, I'll try it. So got in the class and it was like 19 people from all over the world. And they gave us all like these tests to kind of figure out if we were legit or just, thought we had a gift or whatever. And I was like wiping the floor with everybody on these tests. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, this don't make no sense. And so they were doing stuff like go to this place and these people are going to give you a test and then they're going to send the results to us and then we'll contact you. And I'm like, and it would just be a guy sitting across the table. He would slide an envelope over to me and it would have a name on it. And he was like, what do you get off that name? And I was like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, what am I supposed to do? He said, close your eyes, think about that person, and write down everything that come to you. So I would write down like a paragraph of stuff and slide it back over. And he'd be like, okay, so her name is Sarah. You saw that on the envelope. She does live in a trailer home. There is crabgrass in front of her house. There's a lake in front of her house. She goes to the casino all the time. These are the numbers she play all the time that you wrote down. This is her mother's name. This is this, and this is that. And he said, well, where'd you get that from? I was like, I just tuned into her name. So eventually they were like, yeah, you need to take the level 2 class. And I'm like, there's a level 2? And I'm like, what? So eventually I learned what it was and how it's translated. And then I was still in the church. And so it was like a big thing of, are you a prophet? No, I drink and I cuss. I'm not a prophet. Are you psychic? No, I don't like that word. And I'm like this and that. So I was like clairvoyant. And whenever I see stuff, and I tell people what I see, it end up being what they need to hear, or whatever. So I said clairvoyant, we use that. And then about a year or two later, I ended up writing that book.
Okay.
So my friend who's the attorney was like, you can like help people with that. And so I started doing like police work with missing people and bodies and stuff like that. Of course, the police can't say, you know, we talked to somebody who's clairvoyant, you know, so they just take the information and then they go discover what they need to and get their own records and stuff. But I get calls from like Texas and other areas with people that have talked to me before where I helped them. And that's what made me write the book, because I got tired of explaining it all the time. And I'm like, yeah, just read this.
Right.
You know, and then I did a national book signing tour. I came to Detroit too. I had a big, huge turnout here. It was like maybe like 80 people. It was right there off of Michigan Avenue near downtown. I forgot the name of that. It was like a club on one side and like a conference room or something next door, but everybody kept leaving next door to go get drinks.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's a lot of places.
Right.
TV something?
Oh, TV Lounge.
TV Lounge.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
You probably ran into some people that asked you what numbers to play.
I get that all the time, and I say the same thing every time.
Right.
Like, don't you know if I could do that, I would have been done that.
Right.
Like, I've stood in the gas station and was sitting there, like, concentrating, like, come on, just 6 numbers.
Right.
It don't work that way. It don't even work on me. Like, if I meet people, like, I've met this guy once when I was driving trucks, and I shook his hand, and I felt sick and nauseous, like I wanted to throw up, like. And I don't know what it was about him, but I was just really disgusted by him.
Right.
And come to find out, he murdered somebody the week before.
Oh.
And the warehouse where we were both picking up, they had this big-ass child, like a big, huge dog named Roxy. And Roxy was friendly to everybody. And whenever he came in, Roxy would get under the table and growl at him. And I was like, she probably smelled that blood on him or something. You know, she knew something wasn't right with him.
Right.
And me and Roxy, a week later, saw him on the news and was like, oh, shit. Like, you know. And I didn't even realize it. But I just shook the man's hand.
Right.
And I got really, really, I felt like sick. Like I wanted to go home that day from work.
Right.
It was gross. But he murdered somebody, chopped up their body and everything.
Oh my God.
He did more than murder. Murder is
Right.
Go on and shake your hand. You find out some stuff I did.
I shook his hand, so I must be good.
Yeah.
Did
I shake your hand? I didn't shake your
You gave me a
hand.
hug, even worse.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I hope I didn't make you feel
No,
nauseous.
people like people get scared all the time. Like, oh my God, I shook his hand. I'm like, actually, that's not how it works. I tune into people through their name. So if your government name is Dwayne, but everybody call you Pookie, I gotta hear Pookie, and then I tune into them. So like, you know, when I helped the sheriff in Texas online with that missing person, they just gave me the guy's first name.
Right.
And I tuned into him and wrote down everything. He was murdered by his best friend. They didn't know where he was. I told them where to find the body and all of that. And it turned into like a big thing. But it was because, you know, the guy called back and like everybody in the class turned in a report on the guy's name, but all of my stuff matched up to the point where he wanted to call and talk to me. And then we ended up finding a guy that killed him.
Wow.
It was like his best friend.
So I have a question. In terms of real estate and, you know, you having it up there, does it hinder you at all?
Only like twice. There was like a house I wouldn't go in.
Hey, wait a minute.
Oh my God.
Wait a minute.
He can't come to my house.
You need to go to Jonnita house. She bought a 100 house. She bought a 100 house. People looking out the window
When
and
you want me
everything.
to come sign that book?
Tomorrow. Because if not, she putting it on the market.
Is that bad?
No,
Yeah, it was people looking out the window of their house at night.
What?
It was photos in the wall.
How do you feel in that house? Like,
I feel great. So there was a period of time.
Cool.
uh-oh.
No. So when the first thing was I had to get into, it's 200 years old. I'm sure everything has happened in that house.
Okay.
So I had to get into that house to see how I felt there. And I felt fine.
Not at first.
Bruh, that's your experience. We have two
so
separate
you got
experiences.
experience too.
So I felt fine outside of the way the people kept the house, and unfortunately they wasn't able to love the house and things like that. I didn't have a bad energy. And then things were happening that kind of shook me up a little bit. Like they found a picture in the wall and shit like that or whatever. And then I was a little, shook about that. But then I still didn't have bad energy. So then I moved in probably like the second week of January or something like that or whatever. And
you do know as you keep talking, I'm getting images in my head. But go ahead.
and tell them the owner's name. The previous owner's name.
So as I moved into the house, I did have, and I didn't even talk to Shaka about this, but I did have a little bit of discomfort, but I don't think it was from like the energy of the house. I just felt like it was from like the like people talking about, so like being on Downriver and Friends Facebook, my business partner, telling me stuff. I felt like the energy was coming from exterior versus like interior. So I don't, and then now
have you ever like cleared the house or smudged it or anything?
No, I didn't smudge it. I did say I want to sage it or whatever, but I prayed in the house, and what I've prayed for is basically like peace and quietness, and whoever the ancestors are of the house and the people that are in the house, like just know I want to be here and love the house, and I want to love the land. I want my family to flourish off the land. So that's what I've done.
It used to be a nursing home.
Yeah.
Ran by a white lady.
Yeah.
Ooh, Lord,
Hey, did you look into the light when it came?
I'll say this though. I used to be a point, so I did a lot of the remodel over there, right? And I used to would not go into that house by myself. I used to leave all the doors open. Like, I'm in the daytime. Going in that basement, you know what I mean? Nah.
Yeah, basement.
But, I mean, because they had something down in that basement. They had, somebody was down there.
No, it wasn't.
Somebody was down there counting the days.
No, they wasn't.
They didn't
No,
know
they
the
wasn't.
day.
They had preserves. They bottled fruits.
Somebody was down there.
They were marking the wall.
The wall for the day, counting the days,
For fruit. No, I wasn't for no fruit. Somebody was planning
that was
on
give
getting
us
out.
free. Right.
Let us free.
And so, I mean, but towards the end, I think whatever happened, it did. I would have went in there. So I was going in there, walking around. I wasn't spooked no more. So
this is what I tell you though. So for me, anything that was glass or reflective, I had to get rid of it. I didn't want it. Like if it was original to the house.
Why am I getting goosebumps? Like stop it.
And it was glass or reflective, I'm like, take it out. We tore out a lot of walls. I tore out everything that was glass or reflective. Except for one door. I'm not gonna tell you which one. But
we found a hidden door.
Bruh. This because it's like 3 additions onto the house. They moved this house from one land to another land.
She uses it now.
And then they added on to the house. Basically. So like it was built in 1840, and then probably since 1840 they had like 2 additional
3. Yep.
No, the original. And then probably 2 more.
2, 3. It was the original house, and then the back area.
The hauntings of your own house.
And then the front area to the left and the front area to the right.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
We got to change this because I'm going to be scared to come visit.
Yeah, but like, so no, I don't,
That's cool now.
I feel
That's
like,
cool now.
so whatever, to me, it's just like this. Whatever, I'm not going to focus on whatever happened in the past at the house. I'm going to focus on what's going to happen in the future of the house, and I feel like I've made peace with the land
So it's okay for you.
of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one lady who she wanted me to go in this house. She wouldn't tell me why. And I stood at the door and I was like, nope. And then she was like, what's wrong? I was like, I'm not going to the house. I was like, your brother died in the house. And she was like, okay, so yeah, that's true. And she was like, but I want you to, I was like, mm-mm. And so I was like, I'll come back later. So I thought she wanted to list it. So I was like, still being nice and friendly. And I'm like, okay, let's list it. She wanted to rent it out. And, because it was between her and her nephew, his son.
Okay.
As far as what to do with it. And, I think he wanted to rent it out as well. But I didn't step foot in the house. She took me over there like 3 times, and we would talk in the front yard. Like, I was like, I'm not going in that house.
You need to bring him over your house.
No, he's not coming over
I did
house.
eventually go in the house, but, I knew, because this was a weird house. It was a 3-2, and all the bedrooms were to the left. But I kept feeling he died over here. And I'm like, no, it's a bedroom over there. And she was like, well, what do you mean? I said, he didn't die on that side of the house. He died on this side. And I was like, he was on the floor, like, naked when he died. And there was pills on the floor. And she was like, damn. And then she, like, kind of looked at me crazy. And she was like, okay, so there's an addition, no bedroom added to the back of the kitchen on that side of the house.
Right.
And she's like, you got to come in the house. And I was like, had to pull out my flask of Grand Marnier, and I'm like, okay, let's go in here. So I walked in, and I like walked over, and I'm like, yeah, in this area. And she was like, yeah, that's where he died. And I was like, yeah, I ain't come back in here. So she got a contractor, fixed it up, and she rented it out.
Okay.
I need to call her. That's one of those follow-up calls I need to make. I'm like, you ready to sell that house?
Go ahead and follow up. You tell her how much her equity is.
Yeah, because she really needs to sell that house.
Yeah.
It's down the street from my house, too.
But
That's
I love my
crazy
house. And you can't come over.
I'm not gonna say nothing to make you want to move. I mean, if anything,
She might want to move.
No, I don't
You
think
may
she
tell her
would.
something that she might need to move. I want to know. Tell me about my house. I want to know.
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, not about her,
works
but
for
about
you.
mine. For me. If you know something about me, you got some bad energy, let me know.
Okay.
So I can fix it.
Look here. You know what? That's a wrap, y'all. Marcus Howell. I'm sorry. Before that's a wrap it. Where do we find you at? How do we find you? Instagram, Facebook, phone numbers, websites.
Well, I keep everything the same. So if it's Instagram, Facebook, everything is my middle name, Marvell72. I was born in 72. So Marvell with 2 L's, 72. And that's basically how you find me on all social media, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. That's a wrap.